gentlemen. You know, uh, I'm starting to get this kind of feeling of a bit of helplessness. I would say I would characterize it as it's like we're getting it from all angles, legitimately. Um, we got all these insane like lynch mobs and violence, shootings breaking out every other day, and the Republicans are doing almost nothing, man. Or at least it doesn't feel. I mean, if the roles were reversed and it was us being violent and the Democrats had every branch of government, dude, dude, it would be it would be like COVID or I mean, it would turn into some. It would be stuff we couldn't imagine. I can guarantee you that. One thing happens with George Floyd and we get all this social change, then for a month straight we get nothing but leftist violence, and nothing's being done about it. It's like or heads aren't rolling yet. It's not right. They're killing us in the streets, and also another a positive from this situation is there's been such a fire hose of truly eventful news and truly terrible news, like all of this all of these violent events, violent attacks, assassinations, shootings, lynch mobs, um, and it's all coming from the left. So all the leftist agitprops and uh, on X, on TikTok, on in the legacy media, they have perfected their propaganda skills to an absolute, to the nth degree. I mean, they have a playbook. When news comes out, it's never new. It's always a rehash of something that's happened before. So they know exactly what worked before. And what I'm noticing right now is we're getting such a hardcore fire hose. They can't seem to keep up, and their playbook is out of date. And I don't say out of date that it doesn't work. I mean out of date because people are picking them apart, or have picked them apart, and they're just naked, it's naked propaganda, or in real time they're picking this stuff apart and calling it out for what it is. Like one example, if you guys, I mean, just go and look on X or YouTube or anything right now at any leftist talking about Charlie Kirk's shooter. Like Jimmy Kimmel said, that was just one guy. He doesn't represent anybody. If Charlie Kirk had been, somebody on the left, and some crazy neo-Nazi, or shot shot the person on the right, uh they would not be saying he doesn't represent anybody. They would be using him as the poster child to indict us of what he did. So rules for thee, but not for me. Violence committed by leftists are isolated and have nothing to do with the ideology. Violence committed by conservatives, however, is absolutely a representation of us all, of the majority. We're just all I mean, it's ridiculous. And nobody, I had never seen anybody really point that out in real time until now. And we've had such a fire hose. We've had a political assassination. We've had these insane like this flash mob that happened at Tennessee State. Um, Irina Zarutska. I mean, like like meat to a pack of dogs. Um, every narrative they dropped on Irina Zarutska got shredded in minutes. It seemed like they had gone through like 7 or 8 narratives within like 2 or 3 days. Or no, excuse. or Irina Zarutska and Charlie Kirk both had like 10 narratives a pop, and people on X were just, you know, burning through them because they have this playbook, and it used to work, but it's out of date. Twitter is open, and I think this we're starting to see the results online now, because it took, we had been banned from Twitter and silenced, and it took it a while to get revved up. It took people a while to get the engine revved up. But now, like, all these people that are good with X, they know how to use it. They have followings. I mean, stuff is just, it's like wildfire now. And we actually have social capital, and political sway. And we're able to destroy this stuff and bring people to the light, which is a fantastic thing. It really is. But at the same time, though, we are up against institutional forces. And I commented to that Krasenstein brother how it must be nice for you to, when something happens that's bad for your side, you get to just hang back and let your freaking state propaganda run cover. Where when something like, and then everybody on the right has to do serious work at, to debunk this stuff. Serious work, serious. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous calling it work, but calling this stuff out online, calling this stuff out for what it is. It's hard. It takes work, and these leftists, they don't have to do it. Their stuff gets freaking piped out to every major institution in the country. It's like shooting fish in a barrel for them. And for like they used to say, a lie will go around the world once before the truth even gets gets out of bed. And we're starting to turn that around. But I just had to comment on how nice that must be for them, and how everything is stacked against us. It's totally ridiculous. And honestly, it's just it's getting to the point where I'm starting to think to myself, like, man, the government, when there's differences or when there's conflict, the whole point of the government is to handle that in a civil manner, the authorities, for us. And right now, I personally feel helpless. So I know everyone else, it feels equally as helpless. And when people start feeling helpless, that's when they start taking matters into their own hands. That's when vigilantism and stuff starts up. And bad stuff happens. That's why it's so imperative that cities clean up what's going on, because when they don't, vigilantes arise. I mean, like Death Wish, that movie Death Wish, that was about a peer, that was more or less pointing out vigilantism in New York before Mayor Giuliani cleaned it up. It got bad. And I'm afraid, like, that's what's coming down the trough. It's like, it's so blatant. And somebody, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, they refuse to admit when somebody like the guy who killed Charlie Kirk, they still won't admit that guy was a leftist. And it's like, if somebody's white that commits one of these national events, they default to he's a Republican. It's insane. They default to that. You'll see white influencers that are Democrats. As soon as like this guy that shot up the ICE place, they're saying this guy is a far right, or like a neo-Nazi, went to go kill Mexicans. No, he went to go kill ICE agents, you idiots. And it's crazy how we've jumped to a couple conclusions recently, because these nutcases, some of them look like they're trans, or it's fishy stuff. They start hiding information, or hiding the ball. And right now, we're pretty patient to wait for details. No, the leftists, as soon as they hear white, and that's why the media classifies anybody, even like that guy who shot up the NFL headquarters. The guy was clearly black in the the video footage, and they said a white perpetrator. a white perpetrator. I mean, it's so crooked, it's so corrupt. But they they default to violence comes from the right. And that's why they all these stupid reports and um, when they go out and do a report or collect information and take ask people what's going on, or how they feel. They go out and canvas or whatever, or they do a study. That's why they're always skewed, because these son they don't cover it right. They either mislabel people as being white, or mislabel them as Republicans, and then Republicans, once as the evidence comes out, they refuse to correct themselves, go back and correct the record. So Republicans have to work overtime to go and smash these. I mean, there's a lot of these leftists that are still out there saying he said there are good people on both sides. Although it's getting better, but I mean, it blows. It's insane. I mean, and the government's not doing anything about it. The administration's not doing anything about it, and like in the left, they're just not backing off this ledge. It's like they're going to keep doing this till they legitimately push us to their level. And I mean, it's starting to get somewhat out of control. I mean, like crazy out of control. It's the assassination isn't just a one-off thing. Like it's crazy too. I didn't even think of the NFL shooting before I came on here. These things are just coming to mind, and my own words are starting to ring even truer as I recall how many shootings and violent events have gone on in the last few months. And I mean, anybody who tries to say that it's not because of the media environment is trying to fool you. They have been nursing this violence for years now. Since Trump first got elected, they've been nursing this. And they just want to keep gaslighting, gaslighting, gaslighting. And they're not going to like the end result. They're not going to like it, because if the government, if the Republican establishment and the Republicans don't fix it, the leftists, they're just not going to like what happens in the end. They keep thinking that our better angels have, they don't run out of rope. They don't run out of patience. That our good side, our Christian side, isn't going to run out of patience. And they're quite mistaken. They're quite mistaken. And I don't want them to find out that they're mistaken, because if they find out they're mistaken, then that means we've all failed, pretty much, and that the country is done for, or at least the society as we know it.